How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Some idea.
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them. I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do, and this influences my thinking and consequently my action.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
Play the piano for people.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
is the end. There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
What up, everyone? Happy Friday. Welcome to The Cult. The Cult is a show that I stream Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about really whatever I feel like talking about, whether it be the cult of the far left, the cult of the far right, the cult of the classical liberals, all sorts of cults, because we do live in a world I mean, if we're honest about it, like, we live in a world that is almost entirely made up of one cult or another. I mean, a cult is just a subculture. It is a subculture for a specific group. And today, because I feel like it, we are going to be venturing into the subculture, my favorite subculture. My absolute favorite subculture of the far left. And we kind of started doing this yesterday, but it was brought to my attention that the Socialism Conference, which is basically the largest gathering of far left activists in the country. It's downstairs, Trendlin. I can't show it right now. Sorry. What the hell? Weird message. I'm getting all sorts of weird messages. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, I feel like does anyone get, like, okay, so side note for a second as people are filing in. Does anyone else get like an exorbitant amount of like scamming phone calls late? Like, I mean, I guess this has been going on for a while, but am I the only person in the world that basically doesn't answer their cell phone unless I recognize the number or I recognize the person, or unless they send me a text message or something like that? Because the amount of scamming calls that I get on my cell phone is insane. It is insane. It is every GD day. And it's like they all say spam on them. I have spam blockers. They still call me and they pretend that it's like a legit thing. They're like, you applied for this thing. And I'm like, no, I fucking didn't apply for that thing. I'm like, so I don't even answer them anymore. And they come at the same time every single day. And then the really high-tech scammers, they actually have a number from my state. So I think it might be actually relevant for me because it's a number with like a 603 area code, because I live in New Hampshire. It's a 603 area code. And you pick it up and it's an Indian person. And it's like, they're like, oh, we are following up on that request. I'm like, you are an Indian person. I did not make any request of you. Click. I am so sick of this. Can Trump please do something about this? All I want is to be able to use my cell phone again. Make cell phones great again. I can't. It's like, I don't talk to people. I talk to people on text message. I talk to people online. I don't like this scammer phone call thing has gone way too far. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. This sucks. Stop calling me unless I actually know you or unless I have requested a phone call. I don't want to hear from you. Anyway. That's all. I had to get that out of my system. Some of you understand. And it's like every day at 5 o'clock, okay, maybe I've got a little bit more. Every day at 5 p.m., I'm like, bitch, I am live on the internet at 5 p.m. And then as soon as I go live on the internet, scamming call. It's like, fuck you. All right. I've really worked it out of my system now. It's like you would think they would give up after a certain point, but no. Okay, anyway. The Socialism Conference is one of the largest gathering of far-left activists in the country. It is hosted by socialist book publisher Haymarket Books, and it came to my attention a couple days ago that Haymarket Books has put all of the audio recordings of the 2024 Socialism Conference online. So you guys will remember back to Labor Day weekend. We actually spent all of Labor Day weekend basically watching live streams from the Socialism Conference. So we've actually seen a lot of the content from the Socialism 2024 conference, but they didn't live stream everything, but they did do audio recordings, and then they uploaded their audio recordings to SoundCloud. SoundCloud isn't a website that I use on a regular basis anymore. I did actually used to use it, but I don't anymore. And so I had no idea those recordings were up on SoundCloud until like 2 days ago when someone told me about it. I was like, oh, that would be fun to listen to. And then I started going through the sessions, and there are so many good sessions I want to listen to. So for today and for tomorrow, for Socialism Saturday, we're doing a little mini marathon to get caught up on some of the sessions that we missed from the Socialism Conference. Now, sadly, this is not going to have video. It's going to be an audio-only recording, but the audio is actually pretty high quality. The audio is actually better quality than, like, the video live streams that we watched, so everyone will just have to adapt, and it's the way it goes. And today, we are going to be featuring an abortion special, because there were 2 presentations at the Socialism Conference about abortion. And so that seems to be a good amount of content that we can listen to on a single stream. These sessions are between an hour and 90 minutes. So basically we have 2.5 hours worth of good old reproductive justice, abortion activism. Now remember, these recordings were made back in September, so it was prior to Donald Trump getting elected, but that's okay because it'll give us insight into the minds of these people, where they're at right now. And I have to tell you guys, I'm really excited. So we've got 2 presentations, and the first one, actually, let me show you the second one first. The second one is called Liberating Abortion, Claiming Our History, Sharing Our Stories, and Building the Reproductive Future. We're going to listen to this one second. Lawmakers have weaponized abortion restrictions and ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's number 2. But what I'm really excited about is actually this one. Abortion Rights Beyond the Ballot Box. And the reason I'm excited about it is right here. Right here. Dr. Mary Bowman. Who in the chat, this is a really wonky, nerdy question, okay? Who in the chat remembers who Dr. Mary Bowman is? Does anyone remember our old friend, Mary Bowman? We forced Mary to private her Twitter account in 2023, and her Twitter account has remained private this entire time. Nick says, everything goes right. End of March, I own a home. Hey, Nick, that's great. Congratulations on that, my friend. That's awesome. Dr. Mary Bowman. Well, let me introduce you to her. Dr. Mary Bowman was a featured speaker at the Socialism 2023 conference, And Mary said every quiet part out loud. Mary's participation in the Socialism 2023 conference has paid dividends for us. Mary's participation in this conference was so outlandish that Vivek Ramaswamy shared the posts I made about her because she specifically talked about Vivek, because Vivek was talking about protecting the nuclear family. And in the session that Mary gave at the Socialism 2023 conference, she was bemoaning that they hadn't abolished the nuclear family yet. She specifically mentioned Vivek by name. I put that on Twitter, and then Vivek retweeted it and actually responded to her as he was running for president. So that was pretty big. And we have so many great clips of Mary. We have a whole archive. See, that's Mary. That's Dr. Mary Bowman. Dr. Mary Bowman is a professor at DePaul University, so she does teach in academia, of course. She talks about the queer nuclear family. She talks about relationship anarchy. She said capitalism over and over and over and over and over again. It was awesome. And I actually remember Mary. Do you guys remember this when we were watching the live streams from the Socialism 2024 conference? Mary actually came up to the microphone in one of those live streams and she said, all these people came after me after last year. And I was like, Mary! I was like, oh man, I was so excited that Mary remembered us. I was so excited that Mary thought that, like, when she went up to the microphone to talk at the Socialism 2024 conference at the live stream, she specifically gave us a shout out because we sent so many people after her that we made her private her Twitter account. And it was great. It was the best. It was. And and Reagan, do you remember how I recognized her by her voice? Because I've listened to her clips so much that I recognized her voice. So, Dr. Mary Bowman was a presenter in the first abortion presentation that we're going to listen to tonight. And that is Abortion Rights Beyond the Ballot Box. 2 years after the fall of Roe and during the most important election of our lifetime, how can supporters of reproductive freedom build power through intersexual organizing and envision radical politics where bodily autonomy and community care unite us across movements? Activists and providers discuss strategies for building connections between the fight for abortion access and related movements such as trans and queer rights, labor, mutual aid, health justice. All the keywords are there. I think this is going to be glorious. And so we're going to listen to these two abortion presentations today, and we're going to talk about them. And that is what we're going to do. And I have more presentations pulled up for tomorrow for Socialism Saturday, but you're just going to have to wait for those. And we're just going to be working our way through some of these presentations, guys. In some respects, listening to presentations from the Socialism Conference can sometimes be a little boring and tedious, but this is what it is. This is what it is to listen to and watch these people and to analyze these people. And so by doing this on a live stream, you guys are helping me do research. We're all doing the research together. We're all learning. This is socialism in the real world. This is not conservative made-up clickbait. This is not owning the libs. This is what socialism looks like in the real world, driven by the people who are actively pushing these ideas. Okay? And so sometimes we need to do the work of listening to what's going on and deciding what we think about it. Now, I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I'm not going to be drinking beer today. I'm sorry if that. I normally drink beer on Fridays for happy hour. I have a cold and I don't feel like drinking. And so everyone's just going to have to survive with the fact that I'm not drinking today. I'm sorry. I know. I wish I didn't have a cold, but it's the way it is. I can't taste anything anyway, so I can't taste how good the beer would taste. So it would just be drinking for the sake of drinking, and I don't do that. I drink beer because I enjoy drinking beer. And if I can't taste the beer because I have a stupid cold, then that's the way it goes. But I do have a couple other things before we get started that I want to talk about. And I feel like I need to talk about this. This is unrelated, but we'll talk about this while people are kind of like filing in to the stream. Who has been watching Kanye West's Twitter account over the past 20 hours, 24 hours? Has anyone been paying attention to the Kanye West Twitter account? Oh, that's a good idea, Milo. We should actually definitely look for her on Blue Sky. No, it's not made yet, Trendlin. It's on the list, I promise. Has anyone been paying attention to Kanye West's Twitter account over the past 24 hours? I have to talk about this. Kanye West, bless him, bless his heart. Kanye West is obviously having a manic episode. Kanye West's wife should probably take his phone away. And, well, Kanye has said some things. Some things are said. And I just thought we would go through the hundreds of tweets that Kanye West has sent out to his, 30 million followers in the past 24 hours. We're not going to read all of them. I just want to take you, and I had to scroll all the way down, so we're scrolling up. You can see, look how small we're scrolling up. We're doing this in he's still, and by the way, he is literally still tweeting right now. He is tweeting in real time. So let me just show you. It started off with this one, Free Puff, as a reference to Puff Daddy, who is in jail for doing things he really shouldn't have done. All these celebrity nigga and bitches is pussy, y'all. Watch our brother. Okay, he's talking about Puff Daddy there. He's arguing to free Puff Daddy. He's talking about slavery is a choice. Okay, all right. He's we're not gonna read all these. What y'all gonna do? Cancel my sneaker deal, cancel my record deal, freeze my accounts. Fuck y'all niggas. Slavery is a choice. I'm speaking my mind now. I ain't eating shit ever again. Says that. Oh, here. And I think this should go without saying. But I am simply reporting what Kanye West is saying on Twitter. I obviously and clearly disavow everything that he's tweeted. It is bad and it is wrong and he shouldn't be doing this, and his wife should really take care of him and take his phone away. I'm just reporting what is being said, YouTube. I don't avow any of this. I am my own person. I have my own opinions. I'm just showing what's being reported. All you please come at me. That's how we spot the... I'm not saying that word. It's a weird thing I'm not saying, but I just don't like that word. Like, let these white people and Jewish people tell y'all what to say and do. Fuck Diego and fuck y'all niggas in advance. And now he's selling Sean John merchandise on his website, which is Puff Daddy's clothing line, which is a little weird. And I kind of wonder like what this has to do with anything. Let's see. Oh, he got community noted. Just for clarity, they trying to make an example out of Puff. Me and my brother had our issues, but these white people trying to use Puff to scan niggas. I'm neither scared nor brave. This just me. And then he got community noted. Just for clarity, Diddy is charged with sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, racketeering, conspiracy, transparent. So these are not mere issues, actually. That community note is kind of legit. Like, this is... just keeps going. So, and it's going to switch gears here. Oh, there we go. Oh, what's this? Elon, they kicked me off Instagram. So happy you bought X. And then there's a community note on that. This post doesn't definitively prove he's banned, rather logged out. His account is still active with stories as of time. So he's trying to say he got kicked off Instagram when he didn't. Let's see. Oh, he's having his tweets limited for hateful conduct. Let's see what he said. Any nigga come in my face and ask me about that Puff shit, I'm stealing off of them immediately. I don't give a fuck if you 8 feet tall. I'ma jump and steal off you no more niggas telling me what color hat to wear. If you ask me on the phone, I'm hanging up immediately and never speaking to you again. If you DM me, I'm blocking you. You niggas is controlled and broke, all you Kamala and dick riding faggots. Y'all got everything to say about my opinions when you just done what niggas make you do for money. Faggots don't mean gay either. It means faggot like it always meant, you fucking retard. Again, I disavow all of this. I would never use such language, and I find it to be hateful and disrespectful. I'm just reporting what was said. Fuck y'all woke shit. They putting fat bitches on the runway. No one want to see that shit. It's unhealthy. It promotes obesity. And the wild shit is if the fat bitches lose weight, then they lose their except for Adele, because she actually has another talent being... Okay. I'm never apologizing for my Jewish comments. I can say whatever the fuck I want to say forever. Where's my fucking apology for freezing my accounts? Suck my dick. How's that for an apology? It just keeps going. Oh, another one hate me. Be clear, you Jewish niggas don't run me no more. This is a free country. This is my free opinion. You abort black children for stem cells. Abortion is murder, and it's pushed onto the black and Latino community. Anybody who work for me that don't agree, fuck you, quit. You most likely charging too much anyway. Let's see, just keeps going. Just keeps going. Some of my best friends are Jewish and I don't trust any of them. I have dominion. Okay, so in case you didn't see it, Kanye West brought his wife to the Grammys and she was naked. She was naked at the Grammys. Completely naked. And she's got a great body, man. Like, listen, you can't take that away from Bianca. She's got a great body. She's got really big tits. But she was naked at the Grammys. I have dominion over my wife. This ain't no woke as feminist shit. She's with a billionaire. Why would she listen to any of you dumbass broke bitches? People say the red carpet look was her decision. Yes, I don't make her do nothing she doesn't want to do, but she definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without my approval, you stupid ass woke pawns. I have no respect or empathy for anyone living, because no one living can fuck with me, but I do love some people and I give them favor. Let's see. I'm buying 2 My Box tomorrow. I'm going to make the Jewish person who's selling it to me read all these tweets and I bet you see me whipping my box. Oh, Kanye. Kanye. I'm racist. Stereotypes exist for a reason and they all be true. I ain't assimilating to the simulation. I don't want to go to your fancy restaurants. Ramen noodles and Doritos were made for a reason. Let's see. We're just scrolling up. This is all in chronological order. I don't even know what the fuck anti-Semitic means. It's just some bullshit Jewish people made up to protect their bullshit. Was that there right there? Yeah, there's some truth to that. Fucking retards. Well, you know, I don't take no unsolicited advice, and I don't give it. I say where I stand, and if you can't stand it, fuck you. I'm not gentle, I'm king. Now bitch amongst yourselves. If I lost everything again tonight was worth it, I can die after this. I turned down 3 photos this week with Make-A-Wish kids in wheelchairs. Oh, God. I just tweeted everything I could think of and I'm still alive. Let's see. Oh, it gets better. It gets better. Unless they took the tweet. Oh, here we go. I love Hitler. Now what, bitches? I disavow. Disavow. We don't love Hitler here. Hitler was obviously the worst person that ever lived. He's burning in hell right now. I'm just reading the tweets. I'm a Nazi. No, 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 Kanye. No, 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 no. Don't say that on the internet. That's not good. I say whatever the fuck I want, pussies. Yeah. Oh, another one that got hateful conducted. This from the nigga with the pink polo to all you faggot ass rap niggers that ever came out your mouth sideways. I'm the Don. Yay over everything and everyone. Go to your day job and talk shit about me. But always remember you're broke and you have a boss and you have to suck your boss's dick for a living pussy. Oh, all you broke-ass nigga, bitches, honkies, Jews, it's whatever. All white people are racist. You'll notice that didn't get a hateful conduct thing. Jewish people actually hate white people and use black people. Yep. Okay. All right. Oh, another one with hateful conduct. Let's see. Niggas newsflash, white people and Jewish people are different. You can get money with Jewish people, but they always gonna steal and invite you over to their house on Friday. White people do not fuck with niggas. They leave that to the Jews. If you think you get in money with a white person, it's not true. That so-called white person is actually Jewish. Jews hate whites because of the Germans from World War II. And again, obviously I disavow all of this. I'm just reading what he wrote. We are just documenting Kanye West's latest manic episode. Elon stole my Nazi swag at the inauguration. Yo, my guy, get your own third rail. I love when Jewish people come to me and say they can't work with me anymore. It's my fave. I will say nothing bad or against China. I didn't even see this one. They always showed me love when Americans turned their backs on me because of a red hat or t-shirt. I get money with China. I love China. God had my mom bring me there when I was 10 for a reason. I change my mind when I feel like it. Yep. We're just going to scroll up a little bit. They're still going. Still going. Still going. I can say Jew as much as I want. I can say Hitler as much as I want. Matter of fact, I do say it when I want. Oh, we've gotten out of the capital letters, but we're still talking about Hitler. Hitler was so fresh. Okay, Kanye. Call me Yadolf Hitler, and your bitch still wants to fuck. His wife needs to take his phone away. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Has anyone ever wanted to get it all off their chest? Everything you felt, everything they told you not to say, think, or feel, then broke niggas in the comments turn into doctors and give their dumb Twitter diagnosis. Yo, yay, I feel that. I feel that. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Anyone who called my wife's Grammy look a stunt is dumb and lame. Yes, you. She's been dressing naked for 2 years. Uh-huh. Someone said, Bianca, take your husband's phone away. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth, you broke-ass troll. He's responding to Tristan Tate. Screenshotting stuff. Well, she basically wore a stocking over her entire body. We're just keeping going, guys. I'm just showing you what he did. Oh, Nick Fuentes tweeted out their appearance on InfoWars, which I think we all still remember. He said, "This was one of my strongest memory moments. Has to go in the movie." And look, listen, this is probably the most wholesome moment of the night. Can we all acknowledge this? Nick Fuentes tweets, "We're back," and Ye responds with laughy emoji. I mean, it's very wholesome. They're friends. Nick Fuentes is friends with Ye. That's nice. Okay? That's nice. And then he starts responding to AF Post, and he thinks that AF Post is against him, when in fact I think AF Post actually probably really likes him. Come extort me, bitch. Come close my bank accounts again. You should have physically killed me when you had the chance. I am God, Jesus, Hitler, yay, like I told you. He keeps responding to AF Post. This is one of the best ones. He says, I used to be woke too. And then he, with a picture of a guy wearing a Say No to Nazis t-shirt. All right. I know this is a lot, but he just kept going. I channeled Andrew Tate on a few of these tweets. So Kanye West had a little bit of a night. And you know, I kind of wonder where all this is going to go. Thank you for the free promotion, bitches. Suck my nigga cock. I know. Well, that had the hard art, and I didn't say the hard art though, did I? I know your wives want to. Everybody's wife wants to fuck. Yay. Always remember that pussy. What you gonna do? Close my account? Try to extort me? You niggas funny to me at this point. I'm not saying that. I'm not fucking saying that. Holy shit. I'll go right up to the line with people, with things that people can clip out of context. I'm not saying that. Holy shit. I didn't see this before. Oh. No, I'm not saying it. Disavow. Wow. He called AF Post a retard. Oh my god. And that is up to the most recent. Now let's just refresh real quick because he's literally yeah, if Trendalin's friend is here, we don't hate the Jews. We're just talking about Kanye West. There's no anti-Semitism allowed on my channel. We love Jews, obviously. We love everyone. He's still tweeting. George Farmer, I did not fuck your wife. Rest easy. Jared Kushner on the oh, yo! Oh. Good morning, retards. Good morning, yay. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so that is the update on oh wait, the Jews wrote Martin Luther King's speech Happy Black Oh my So that's what's going on Twitter. So everyone should probably follow him. So that I don't have to read these tweets out loud in the future. You guys can all follow along on your own. But that is what is going on in the land of Twitter in case anyone needed an update. Now, guys, we are Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Black History Month to all of you. Okay, down to business. Down to business because we are going to be getting into the Socialism Conference. Just a reminder that if you want the latest updates on the work I do, subscribe to my Substack. That is Carlin, KARLYN.substack.com. You can check out the funding that we're finding out USAID gave to far leftist groups in the country. That is currently on the Substack. So definitely check that out. Also, as a reminder, I do have a special limited edition t-shirt in the Unwoke Art Store. We've got it on t-shirts, this cool baseball shirt, tank tops, and sweatshirts. It is the Abolish Public Schools design because it is not enough to just abolish the Department of Education. We want to abolish all public schools because they are not a fixable problem. You can find that in the Unwoke Art Store. I just got a massive shipment of t-shirts from the Unwoke Art Store. I've got all this cool shit. Look at this. Look at this. Are you an anti-communist? The printing came out so well. I'm going to be working on modifying these shirts while we're on the stream today, but I love that, like, the t-shirt quality looks so good. I love it so much. We've got so many great designs. This is your last chance to get the Donald Trump Valentine's Day limited edition design. That's going to be leaving the store at the end of the week, so you can find that. I actually just got this Be an Outcast. Hang on. Even my husband saw this one. My husband saw this Be an Outcast one, and he's like, that looks really cool, Carlin. And I'm like, I know it does. So you can see the printing on the t-shirts is awesome. So we've got all sorts of great designs in the Unwoke Art Store. I just got the Red Menace Collective one too. That's the Are You an Anti-Communist one. I got this one too. This one looks great. Pick up whatever merch you want. All purchases do go to support the work I'm doing, and I really, really do appreciate it. And now let us commence with our abortion stream. And we're going to be listening to Abortion Rights Beyond the Ballot Box. And sadly, these are audio only, but that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Hang on, let me set up my media. Guys, please make sure you mount the like button for me. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you are not already, we stream Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We do Socialism Saturday on Saturdays at 6 p.m. And, come back and join us. And if you guys want to contribute, I want to do a super chat goal today. We're not at $122 yet. We're at $2. We are at $2. We have just started off. So if you guys want to keep me in business, please contribute to the super chat goal. This does help keep me streaming. It helps offset the cost of being able to spend hours and hours with you guys breaking down this stuff, and I really do appreciate it. And let's dig into it. Let's learn what happened at the Socialism Conference. All right, let's do it.
Justice by any means necessary.
This program is brought to you by Haymarket Books as part of the Socialism 2024 program. You can hear more recordings from the conference by subscribing to the Socialism Conference podcast feed. Many video recordings are also available at socialismconference.org.
The audio is a little
If you
loud.
enjoy these recordings,
The
you should
audio's a
join
little
us
loud.
at Socialism
There we go.
2025, which will be held in Chicago next summer, July 3rd through the 6th, 2025. If you are ready to put ideas into action and get organized with others from across the country and the world, make a plan with your organization and your friends to come to the Socialism Conference.
Maybe I will.
All right, we're going to get started because we have so much to talk about, and people can keep coming on in. Welcome to Abortion Beyond the Ballot Box. My name is Anne. I'm an activist with Chicago for Abortion Rights, and I'm here with two incredible activists, advocates, thinkers. We're going to have a really great conversation.
Thank you.
So I'm joined by Lexi Dotson-Dufault from the Executive Director of Abortion Fund of Ohio. Lexi's got so much incredible information to share with us. And by Emily, sorry if I say your last name wrong, Emily. Emily Lickens-Ellers, is that right? Okay. An incredible birth and abortion doula, a full spectrum doula.
An abortion
a former
doula.
abortion clinic worker and a former labor organizer. So she brings
They have an abortion doula. The job of an abortion doula is to sit next to you while you are bleeding your child out in the toilet after you take the abortion pill, and to hold your hand and to bring you a cup of tea. And I know that because I learned that when I went undercover at a socialist reproductive justice conference.
tons of intersectional organizing to this conversation. So we're gonna really lean into the tensions that exist in the movement. We're really not gonna shy away from some of the tensions and the contradictions. We're gonna talk a lot about intersectional organizing, so how we can be integrating reproductive justice in all of our organizing spaces and not siloing it out, because it is connected intimately to everything else that we're fighting for. We're going to talk a lot about, kind of how abortion funds work, how people in states with abortion protections can support those in states with bans. I really would love for us to get into like some of the tensions around, like the need for community care and mutual aid and self-managed abortions and like the kind of early self-help movement. Like, we can take care of ourselves. We will continue to have abortions no matter what the laws are. But at the same time, we want there to be better laws. Like, we also want a single-payer healthcare system, and we want all healthcare to be free, accessible, like, easy for everybody, and like that is also a part of our project. So, those two things are not obviously like intrinsically opposed to each other, but there's some tension between those two movements. So I would love for us to kind of like unpack some of those tensions between like the kind of two threads of kind of mutual aid and community care and fighting for a universal healthcare program. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to ask Lexi and Emily to talk about what brought you guys into this movement. Like, how did you enter the repro movement? Kind of talk about your background and your organizing and what work you're doing now. And then we're going to have like a brief moderated discussion. We could talk for like
so when they say self-managed abortions, they do not mean clothes hangers. What they mean is the abortion pill. So the abortion pill, and this is I'm glad you asked this, Annie, because people might be new here and they might not know this. The abortion pill is basically a combination of two pills. It's methoprestone and misoprostate or something like that. It's like, you can look it up and find it, but it's a combination, miso and miso. I think it's MISO. But it's basically a combination of two pills that you take by yourself, and then you cramp a lot, and then you bleed your child into the toilet. And I'm told there's an exorbitant amount of blood. I've like, from people who've actually like been around this stuff, like an exorbitant amount of blood. And then after but that's how they're talking about self-managing abortion. They're not talking about clothes hangers. They're talking about pills. And people really need to know this, because like, the abortion bans are not actually going to stop abortion, because one of the things that abortion activists do is they make plans to smuggle the abortion pills into states where abortion is banned. And there's really not, you can mail pills. It's not like, it's not the hardest thing in the world. So the abortion pills are their big thing. Now, if the Trump administration did anything to, like, say, ban the abortion pill, you are going to see, I kind of hope Trump does this because I want to see what would happen. If Trump bans the abortion pill, you are going to see a massive explosion from the reproductive rights movement like you have never seen before. You thought the repeal of Roe v. Wade was bad? Oh no. If you take away their precious abortion pill, which they basically worship as though it has godlike powers, they're going to snap. And it's not going to be pretty. Yeah, that's a really good idea, Melanie. I'm going to think about that.
15 hours, but I'm going to like limit it to just like a couple of questions for each of our speakers. And then we'll save about 30 minutes at the end for questions from you all. Okay, so Lexi, you want to start us off?
Yeah. Oh my God, that will be a disaster. Hey, y'all.
Hey, Lexi.
Thanks so much for coming out this morning to listen to us yap. I'm excited to yap with y'all. And so my name is Lexi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Massachusetts, but I live in Columbus, Ohio now. I almost said I'm from Ohio, but I am a North girl till I die. And I didn't really start my work in reproductive justice until later in my life. I was always kind of doing this work, but didn't know of the framework, didn't know about its origin until I was in college. I am the oldest of five. I was born to a young single mom, and a lot of my family dealt with in and out of incarceration. I was in foster care from 6 until 18, and a lot of my family also struggles with substance use. And so I saw growing up just a lot of these systems, whether it be the policing system, the child protective service systems, just our medical systems, really not work for my family, for my community, for myself. And I went to a Catholic school from kindergarten until I graduated high school, and I did not know anything about sex. I did not know much about abortion. The most I knew was that if I had an abortion, I was bad, gonna go to hell, don't do it, don't have sex. My grandparents who raised me, they did not talk about sex. They were very old school, from the South, very conservative. And so when I went to college and I found myself pregnant, I didn't know what the hell to do. I was very distressed. And I remember I was going to keep my pregnancy.
One of the things that really pisses me off about abortion activists is they act like it is impossible to have sex and not get pregnant, especially in college. They act like there's just like no way around it. And that's why we need to have abortion, because, and it's just like, you know what? I had a lot of sex in college and I don't regret any of it. Okay, maybe I would have made a different decision here or there with specific people. But like, I never got pregnant. Do you want to know why? Because I was on birth control and I used fucking condoms. And you know what? It's like at some point, if you don't want to have a kid, that's fine. If you want to fuck everyone and their mother, that's fine. Well, I mean, some people might not think. I don't really care what people do. But what I will say is, like, if you take basic precautions, you're not going to get pregnant. And there are all sorts of things that you can do in terms of like different. I mean, I took the pill, but like they're like you can have these like devices inserted in you where you don't even have to fucking do anything. And so it really pisses me off, and I feel like this gives like all women a bad name, to be honest. It's like the complete and total abdication of all responsibility in terms of like, I just went to college and I just got pregnant. Well, like, come on. You can get abortion, like you can get birth control pills almost for fucking free from Planned Parenthood. You can get condoms for free from Planned Parenthood. They have if people have never been in a Planned Parenthood, I mean, maybe this has changed since I was in college. I'm married now. I haven't had to use condoms in a while. But like, if you go into a Planned Parenthood, there is a giant ass bowl with condoms right outside the door. You don't even need to talk to anyone. You just go in, you take as many condoms as you want, and you can leave. Am I pro-choice? Yes, I am. I'm pro-choice with sensible limits and restrictions. I'm not for free on demand up until birth pro-choice. Do you think some of these women fail? Yes. Well, I mean, maybe not so they can get abortions, but I think that I think that they just like, I think that they abdicate all. I don't think they're doing it purposefully to get pregnant so they can get an abortion. I think that's a conservative point of view on it. I don't think that that's actually real. But because the abortion costs them money, like it costs them money, it takes time, like all this stuff. But would they say no? No, you could have, like, and again, that maybe things have changed since the last time I went into a Planned Parenthood, which was probably 20 years ago, but like you could literally go in with a bag, dump the entire bowl of condoms into your bag and leave, and no one's going to care.
See, I did not want to. I had a pros and cons list. It had like 40 cons of why I shouldn't have this kid and 1 pro of why I should. And it literally was like forever best friend. Like, come on, be so for real. Like, but I was going to continue my pregnancy because of this stigma that I felt and had been introduced to me my whole life. And I remember I was at a conference, Collective Power Conference, based at Hampshire College in Massachusetts.
I was at that. The Collective Power Conference is the first ever undercover thing I did. That's funny. I wonder if I met this person, wouldn't that have been funny?
And I'm sitting there pregnant, like really just distressed that I'm going to keep this pregnancy because I don't feel like there's another option. And I heard a We Testify storyteller, shout out to Renee right there. And she basically got up there and she was like, I had an abortion. It was the best thing I've ever done for myself.
Oh yeah. They did, like, I couldn't even get the morning after pill when I was having all sorts of sex in college. Now you can literally get the morning after pill over the counter. So that's another thing. If you're not on the pill and you didn't use a condom, go get the fucking morning after pill. Okay, I'm gonna stop ranting about this right now, but like, it's the abdication of personal responsibility that really pisses me off. It's not having as much sex as you want, because I think people should be able to do whatever they want with their own bodies, and if you want to fuck everyone and their mother, that's your choice and that's your responsibility. But I do think it's just like, it's fucking gross if you become an abortion rights activist and you do this like abortion pill stuff, and you try to position this as part of the female experience. It's fucking gross to celebrate this stuff. Even though I am pro-choice, and to be really clear about it, I'm pro-choice in that I think first trimester, with rare exception for rape, incest, life, and the mother, I think that's a sensible approach. For a lot of reasons that I'm not going to go into. If you disagree with me, fine. If you want to call me a baby killer, I will ban you from my chat, and I will not regret it at all. But like, abortion is a sad thing. It shouldn't be something that's celebrated. It should be something that is an extremely hard decision. And it shouldn't be something that we be like, this is a sacred part of being a woman. Like, fuck you. Honestly, use a fucking condom.
I would do it again, and that's all I needed to hear. It was the first time I'd ever heard someone just speak positively, and that's sorry. It makes me emotional because the woman that spoke this is now my best friend. And it was just really, I walked out of the conference and called the clinic, and then the next week got my abortion. And I'm sorry for being emotional, but now being the executive director of an abortion fund and working directly with thousands and thousands of people accessing this care, to know that the barrier of stigma, there were so many barriers that I could face, but the number one barrier I faced was stigma, and that was going to force me to be a parent, to do something I didn't want to do. And so now, when I had my abortion, there were a lot of barriers that people face. Luckily for me, I was in Massachusetts. Our Medicaid covers abortion care. I was able to access that free of cost, which was good because I was a student. I had like $30 to put in my gas tank to get to our one clinic in Western Massachusetts. And so that really, really saved me, because I don't know how I would have afforded it without. I didn't know about abortion funds at this time. And so right after I got my abortion, I actually went to intern with, we were Women Have Options at the time. And I was really, really appalled by what I was seeing people in Ohio face just to get abortion care, from the 24-hour waiting period to what they had to tell you in the clinic, from the lack of clinics to the cost, to just learning all these different things that impact people getting care. And I thought, when I started working, I was like, I remembered all the times in my life when someone...
I want to be very, 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 very fucking clear. If one of you thinks that you're going to come in and try to convince me to be pro-life, you are mistaken. If you try, you're really going to piss me off. And the reason is, I was raped when I was in my early 20s, and you are never going to convince me that a person that is raped should be forced to carry the child of their rapist. Now, I don't care what you say. There is nothing that you're going to do to convince me of it. They should be given a choice. Thankfully, I didn't get pregnant, but there are people who do. I don't want to hear, that's not a big part of the problem. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if it's one fucking person. So if you want to get permanently banned from my chat, you can continue to go down the road you're going down right now, but you are never, ever, 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 ever going to convince me to give up my position.
And had just given me material things that I needed to make it through.
And by the way, the reason I need to say that is that pro-life people are just as insufferable as the pro-abortion people. Pro-life people are just as bad on every given level. They don't take no for a fucking answer. They are unreasonable. They do not understand nuance. You can't compromise with these people. They turn into belligerent assholes. So just keep it to yourself. All right? Seriously.
You know, when there were times when I didn't have food to eat and someone would give me money to go get food. When there were times when I was in college and I didn't have, you know, $10 to go get any of my books and a computer. And, you know, I worked with a social worker at school, came to me and was like, listen, there's this program, not a lot of people know about it. It gives you cash just to get your stuff. I know you just came out of foster care. Like, I'm gonna get this for you so you can get what you need. And just a lot of times throughout my life that I thought about, you know, this money has helped me get through the day, get through whatever it is. And so working at an abortion fund, giving people money to make their own choice, it has been so just impactful. And there's so many different avenues to organizing and to, you know, improving our world. And I really believe that direct service is so undervalued. Direct service is so taken for granted. And I'm excited to talk a little bit more about the tensions between, you know, these different ways we achieve, you know, freedom. And, you know, one is not better than the other, but some are more undervalued than others. And it doesn't do us service in this movement. And so, sorry, I'm going all over the place, but I'll say I think a lot of my work, circling back to my own abortion experience, is overcoming that stigma, is working against this stigma and misinformation. There's so much misinformation about abortion that is just so untrue, so harming, and really misleads people as to what the safe medical procedure experience is. And so a lot of the work that we do at AFO is really combating that, really being as pro-abortion as possible. I don't run with like the pro-choice, the like sometimes abortion's okay. Abortion is okay whenever the fuck you want it to be. Like, that's what I have to say. And you know,
and this is the shit that really pisses me off about the pro-abortion people. It's like, no. Abortion is not okay whenever you want it to be. At some point, it crosses a fucking line. Let's listen to that again.
People know a lot of my work, circling back to my own abortion experience, is overcoming that stigma, is working against this stigma and misinformation. There's so much misinformation about abortion that is just so untrue, so harming, and really misleads people as to what the safe medical procedure experience is. And so a lot of the work that we do at AFO is really combating that, really being as pro-abortion as possible. I don't run with like the pro-choice, the like sometimes abortion's okay. Abortion is okay whenever the fuck you want it to be. Like, that's what I have to say. And, you know, letting people know it's okay if you have an abortion later in pregnancy. It's okay if you have 5 abortions, 1 million abortions, a bajillion abortions. I don't care. Your abortions are great as your choice. You are taking your life in your control.
It's okay if you have 1 million abortions. No, it's not. No, it's not. Get some fucking responsibility.
And I love being able to be a part of that for people. On one hand, I wish we didn't exist. I wish that people didn't have to contact us and, you know, plead for not that they have to plead, but, you know, are pleading for an amount of money so that they are not forced to become parents, to continue their pregnancies, to give birth, to be parents. It's very, on one hand, if we have to do it, I'm glad that I'm able to do it. But I wish we didn't have to do it. It shouldn't be something that is stigmatized. It shouldn't be something that is inaccessible. And I'm just gonna stop there because I haven't said a lot, but I'm passing it to my friend.
This is the shit I cannot stand.
Thank you so much for sharing, Lexi. That was a really moving story, and I just feel really honored to have heard it. And there was a lot there that I didn't know about you, and I definitely see why this work is so important to you. And yeah, anyway. So, hi, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I know that there's a lot of really good sessions going on. I would probably be at a different one if I wasn't speaking right now too. So I appreciate you taking the time and the effort to be here. This is an important topic to me personally, but I know that the left, whatever that means, frequently sets this issue to the side. They feel like abortion is the third rail of leftist politics. And I have been in the movement now for a good number of years, and it's rare to find organizers in other sectors, housing justice, excuse me, abolition, like all of these movements. They don't want to talk about abortion because they feel like it will alienate people.
There's a reason for that.
But this is so intertwined with so much of what we're doing, like Lexi so eloquently illustrated. So anyway, my name is Emily. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a doula.
They, them.
I'm a full spectrum doula here in the Chicagoland area. I'm actually based out of the Joliet area, if any of you are nearby. I came to this work, like so many others, because I had an abortion. My abortion story is quite boring. I got pregnant. I didn't want to be pregnant.
By the way, when she said my abortion story, for people who don't understand this, the reproductive justice movement actually trains people on how to tell their abortion story. They literally call them the abortion storytellers. I did I wrote about this on my Substack after I went undercover at the Socialist Reproductive Justice Conference that they already talked about, because they literally had 2 training sessions at that conference where they trained these women on how to tell their abortion stories. So this is something that they practice. This is something that they really, like, they make them tell the stories over and over and over again to get all the details right, to try to convince other people that it's okay to get an abortion.
Called an abortion clinic, and they gave me an abortion. They also gave me a hug, a pat on the back, and a couple of really great resources to place my experience within a larger movement. But I was disheartened because I felt very lonely after I had my abortion. I was not really talking to other people about my abortion. And then I became an intern at the abortion clinic where I got my abortion. And I got to talk to people before, during, and after their abortions as an abortion doula. I held their hands while they were having surgical procedures. I explained to them what to expect if they were having a medication abortion. I also held hands with people while they got pap smears and colposcopies and IUDs, which we now finally are validated in knowing that that's an incredibly painful procedure. So that's kind of how I came into this work, was clinically. But it was an independent abortion clinic in a place called Missoula, Montana. It's called Blue Mountain Clinic, and it's actually a fully integrated family practice. So when you go to Blue Mountain Clinic and you're sitting in the waiting room, you could be sitting next to a dude, and you don't know if he's there because he has a cough or a cold. You don't know if he's there for a vaccine. You don't know if he's there because he's having a vasectomy or an STD test. He also might be there for an abortion because his boyfriend got him pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the beauty of Blue Mountain Clinic.
Trans.
We also did trans healthcare, including for youths. We did a lot of political work. So I was a member of a reproductive rights coalition, did some lobbying. I've always been like in a political family. My dad's a union carpenter, and my family always made it really clear to me that it was the union movement that allowed our family to have a comfortable life. This was a really important value to me growing up. So when I was working in the abortion movement, I was disheartened because I realized that the abortion movement had a bit of a labor problem. The wages were very low. The working conditions were not great. We were often expected to take off our worker hat and put on our volunteer hat and continue doing our job after our 40 hours were reached and we were no longer being paid to do our job. And we did this, like don't get me wrong, we did this because we were in it. If anyone has ever read Sarah Jaffe's book, Work Won't Love You Back, there's a really great chapter in there about how Planned Parenthood specifically acts as sort of like a capitalist version of abortion. I sometimes joke that they're like the Walmart of abortions because they treat their workers, honestly, worse than Walmart does. My friends who do organizing in the repro space.
Planned Parenthood is just too capitalist when it comes to abortion for us. Things you would only hear at the Socialism conference. And by the way, if you're still not, is there anyone here that is still unconvinced that it always comes back to capitalism for these people? Everything. Every abortion comes back to capitalism. Planned Parenthood is just too capitalist. They're treating their workers horrible. Okay, well, there it is.
Will tell you how fierce the anti-union lawyers are that Planned Parenthood hires. They have been fighting tooth and nail. But I was just a young person in the abortion movement, and I was like, why are we not unionized? This doesn't make any sense. Why are we not? I mean, the Democrats claim we're all under this big umbrella, so why aren't we really under the umbrella? So I've sort of moved forward in my career thinking about this. I ended up rage quitting my job, my dream job at the abortion clinic, due to a number of factors that were related to like working conditions and wages. So then I entered the labor movement and quickly realized that the AFL-CIO has a huge feminism problem. So the labor movement has a feminism problem, and the feminism movement has a labor problem, and I was stuck in the middle of all of this. And then I had children of my own, and I realized how fucking hard it is to be a working mom. And I had what people call
so I just want to pause it there. She had kids. So this is another talking point that you hear from conservatives, that these people don't have kids. No, they do have kids. They do. She's telling you that. Actually, a lot of the, I've actually seen a fair number, more than you might think, of reproductive justice advocates that do have children. I mean, they even show up to these protests and they're pregnant. They write books for people about this stuff. When they say reproductive justice, they include the choice to have children or not. So they also believe that having children should be fully paid for by the government, that childcare should be fully paid for by the government, that everything should be fully paid for by the government. So it is completely and totally untrue that these people do not have children, and that's why they're shouting their abortion, because they do have children. Yeah, I know. No, and that would never happen. Conservatives would never lie just to own the libs, it would never happen.
Mentee B, and I took a break from organizing and a break from working, and I became a stay-at-home mom. And that was when I learned what it means to be a human and not just a worker. I didn't realize that my entire identity was my job. And when I was no longer a union organizer, and I was no longer an abortion clinic worker, and I was just Emily, making sandwiches and slinging, diapers, hoping they make it into the trash so I don't have to walk over there and touch it again. Like, it changes your brain chemistry to fire the boss in your brain, right? It changes the way you see yourself when you don't have a paycheck attached to your labor. So in ways that totally made me spiral, and my dear sweet husband in the back can talk about all of the nights I've spent crying in the bathtub because of how challenging it is to just be a parent in America, how stressful it is. Guns are the leading cause of death for people under 18 in the United States. Not car accidents, not cancer, guns. I mean, when we think about I sometimes cry when I fill the bathtub for my daughter because I don't know if she'll have the luxury of doing the same for her children. So when you become a parent, I was so angry as a young activist, angry, burn it down, angry. And then I went to the Dream Defenders last night, if anybody else did. I had this revolutionary love that was my children. And all of a sudden I had to save the world. I couldn't just burn it down.
I had revolutionary love that is my children. And having children made her more of a socialist, more of a revolutionary, because she needs to create a socialist world for her children.
But my abortion that happened 10 years before I had my children was also an act of revolutionary love.
Wow.
That was me saying, I'm not ready to not only teach someone how to walk, talk, and use the toilet, but teach someone how to be a good human being. Teach someone how to deal with disappointment, frustration, heartbreak, how to emotionally regulate themselves, how to do their fucking homework. I couldn't even do my homework yet. I was in college still. I was trying to force myself to, how could I get a kid? So like that was revolutionary love. That was me saying, I'm not ready to be your mom. This is too much of a responsibility for me right now. And it is unfair of me to bring a child into this world without the correct material conditions. Because the material conditions in which we are born into, that has predicted where you are today more so than any personal choice you will ever make. Where you were born, who you were born to, how much money your parents make, that's what decides who you are in this society. And I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna finish my education, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna have a career. And then I threw my career in the toilet to change diapers and make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But then I realized that was the work, So I did my doula training and became a full spectrum doula, not just an abortion doula. And now I attend births in hospitals, in homes, in independent birth centers across Chicagoland area. I support people virtually for all kinds of experiences. Pregnancy that they carry to term, pregnancies they want to abort, people who know they're going to deliver a baby that's already died inside of them, people who have brought home one twin. Okay, these are the kinds of folks that reach out to me. I'm trauma informed, so I get the worst of the worst. I deal with people who have hematomas the size of baseballs on their labia, okay? This shit is serious. So, anyway, once again, I'm off topic. But the 3 pillars of reproductive justice have been what have driven my work. And the 3 pillars of reproductive justice, I have them on an ugly poster over here. The right to have a child.
There it is.
The right to not have a child. And the right to raise children in safe and healthy environments. And every single session I've been here today, I can connect it back to this. Not just to
See, what did I say? That they say that reproductive justice is the right to have a child, the right not to have a child, and the right to raise kids in safe conditions. That, of course, for them means socialism.
Today. I haven't been to any sessions yet today. This whole weekend, right? Whether it's abolition, climate justice, dismantling CPS, like all of this is connected to reproductive justice, and I can see it through that lens. So anyway, what am I talking about? I work to connect abortion clinic workers with unions through a very special little organization called Repro Jobs. Maybe some of you have heard of it. And that was really important work to be able to see the plight of the workers in the abortion care movement. Now there's over 50 unions in the reproductive justice movement. So the workers have done amazing work there.
Crazy.
And part of that is facing down what is actually just a reflection of the capitalist system we claim we want to disrupt. So when we look at Lexi and this mutual aid model, the money that should be going to Lexi is going to Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood is turning around and paying people $300,000 a year to sit in an office while they have volunteers and employees who make minimum wage out there knocking doors and holding hands during abortions. And everybody says, Planned Parenthood is gonna save us. But no, Lexi's gonna save us, y'all. So, okay, anyway, thanks for coming. I hope that answered the question.
That was so wild.
Okay, so this is actually something important that people need to realize. So what can we infer from this? We have now heard 2 people in this abortion session at the Socialism Conference talk about how Planned Parenthood is capitalism. Planned Parenthood is capitalism. So what does that mean? That means that all of these reproductive justice advocates are working on building systems that are outside of Planned Parenthood. They are not going to work within the capitalist model of Planned Parenthood because they believe that capitalism is wrong and bad and the thing they want to abolish. So what people need to hear about this is that if the only thing that conservatives do is defund Planned Parenthood, defund Planned Parenthood, defund Planned Parenthood, that doesn't stop these people. That doesn't change anything. It kind of seems as though the reproductive justice movement is trying to push far away from Planned Parenthood to create systems outside of Planned Parenthood to do everything to get around Planned Parenthood. So they don't like Planned Parenthood either. And so this is where conservatives lose to the left, because they think that if they have this one enemy and they can own the libs by defunding that thing or getting rid of that thing or like whatever, oh, we solved the problem. We defunded Planned Parenthood. It's done. We defunded it. Well, these people aren't using Planned Parenthood. These people don't like Planned Parenthood. These people have the amount of socialist organizations, whether they be advocacy groups or mutual aid networks or, whatever the thing, the amount of reproductive justice organizations on the left is overwhelming. There are probably thousands of these types of organizations all over the country. They're paying for women to have abortion. They're figuring out how to smuggle abortion pills. They're doing all sorts of different things. And so people need to hear that, and they need to understand that. If you actually want to stop abortion or significantly curtail abortion, Planned Parenthood is not the only thing that you need to worry about. Rottweiler says, conservatives misdiagnose commies as being misanthropic nihilists who just want to abort themselves into oblivion, when we're seeing they're quite purpose-driven because they genuinely believe they're creating a better world. That is exactly right. That's exactly right. And then Mizakan said, that's why they cling to the fantasy of George Soros funding everything. They think the problem will go away if Soros goes away. That's also correct. George Soros does not fund most of this stuff, guys. He really, or his son. They fund progressive causes, not far left causes. Appreciate it, Rottweiler.
I don't know if I'm gonna save us. Let me just say that. Not you personally, but I'm just playing.
The model, yeah.
Okay, we have so much to talk about. I would love to ask you, Lexi, a question first. We talked a lot about how so self-managed abortion is now accounts for about 63% of all abortions nationwide. It's great. We can access pills super easily.
Wow.
Abortion pills are super effective. You can order them online. You can get them for free if you go through activist organizations like Las Libres.
You can order abortion pills online. You can get abortion pills for free. Like I said earlier, the abortion pill is like, if Trump did anything to ban the abortion pill, these people would lose it.
Pills are super, super safe and effective, and it's incredible that people can self-manage their abortions at home.
It's incredible.
Emily's going to do like a little workshop at the end of this Q&A on how to take abortion medication and using the medical vacuum aspirator pump. We're going to do just like a few minutes at the end, just so you can see what it looks like.
They had an abortion lesson, guys.
But one thing that came up when we were chatting was like abortion clinics do more than just provide abortions. They like help counter the stigma of abortion care. Like, like you just said, Emily, you got a hug. Like there's like care that is involved in, when people come into a clinic. And sometimes when you're self-managing an abortion, you're doing it by yourself. You might feel really isolated. It might be, a kind of scary experience. Like, all kinds of stuff comes up. So clinics play such an important role, and abortion funds play such an important role in like kind of providing that care, that destigmatizing care. So there's a little bit of like a care gap and a little bit of now like, an isolation and alienation that comes from, kind of self-managing abortions, even though it's a great resource and we want to protect it. So how should we think about that? Like what's the role of abortion funds, of independent clinics, of abortion doulas, to kind of fill that care gap? Or like what is needed, I guess, in our movement to make sure that all those people who are self-managing their abortions feel supported?
Yeah, I want to start, I think you just misspoke, and I just wanted to correct it so everyone knows. I think it's 63% of all abortions are medication abortions, not self-managed abortions.
Ooh.
No, that's okay. And I just think in general, SMA is very siloed in the abortion conversation. I feel like when it is talked about by a lot of more legacy organizations, it is fairly undermined, very like don't talk about it too much. And I think whatever way someone wants to have their abortion, as long as it is safe, and that is what they want, they should be able to have it, whether it is self-managing it, whether it is going to a clinic for procedural, whether it's going to clinic to get the pills, whether it's getting the pills by mail. I think, especially as we are seeing these bans and restrictions, promoting SMA in a very safe and positive way is what we need to be doing. There's,
Yep, there it is. Told you.
There's never promoting SMA, and people doing SMA is not going to take away from clinics. There's still people that will always want to go into the clinic and have care supervised, and that is perfectly okay and fine. I think, like you said, people do deserve support when having any abortion, but during SMA too, and I think that's why having abortion doulas are so important, and having abortion funds that can, answer your questions are so important. I think with any abortion, you should have someone who can support you. With any medical, reproductive care, you should have someone that can support you. But having a doula and having someone that you can say, this is okay, this is normal. No, this is not normal. How are you feeling? Let's talk about it. We don't have to talk about it. Helping you get, maybe cleaning up so you can have, recover, have your abortion in, a clean space, cooking you a meal, watching your child while you are having your abortion. Those are things that doulas do that really help in the process, whether it be
really just the fact that an abortion doula even exists as a thing, I find it so deeply and profoundly disturbing. Someone specifically to make you feel okay and to about how, it just it boggles my mind. I know I keep saying that.
SMA or a medication abortion or a surgical procedure. And it's really, as a nonprofit, we have to be really, especially in Ohio, we have to be very specific about the way that we speak about SMA, because there are a lot of, it is not SMA itself that is necessarily the problem. It's all these other reasons that they can tackle it legally, how disposal of, what was it, the disposal of? Yeah.
Say more about that.
Just in the ways,
Tell the story of the Ohio story.
Oh, yeah. Yes, if you remember Brittany Watts, the woman in Ohio that had it was a miscarriage, right? Yeah, and had it in her toilet, and then they arrested her, and she was facing murder charges. It's the criminalization that is dangerous of SMA. It is not SMA that is dangerous. And we're going to talk about that later, about the criminalization. But it's really about the way that we are educating our communities on SMA and, sharing that information publicly and widely. People, shouldn't have to go through all these barriers if they don't want to access abortion care when there is something very safe and available to them through SMA. And so I think we're, promoting and uplifting stories of people who did SMA is very, very important. And I love that We Testify does that because it is normal. It is okay. People have, self-manage their abortions and everything is fine. People self-manage their abortions and they know what to look out for. So if something does go wrong, they can go get care. And how, when they go to the hospital, this is what you say, this is what you don't say. These are all really important things that we need to be educating our communities on so that the criminalization risk is as low as possible.
So, and again, really think about that. They're going out of their way to teach people, here is exactly what you say when you get an abortion so that something doesn't happen. This is not... Conservatives look at the shout your abortion people and they say they're crazy, they're mentally ill. Crazy and mentally ill people do not do this level of organizing, guys. They do not think about details in this level of granularity. This is a highly strategic operation.
Yeah, and maybe let's see. Can you talk a little bit about like the funding model, and a little bit about,
Yes,
you know,
tell us about
obviously
that
don't go into
Soros
any
money.
details that you're not comfortable with, but just like the changes in like the funding that's available, and
Is it
maybe some of the
Soros?
tensions that exist too within, you know, kind of the repro space where, you know, there are big organizations like Planned Parenthood that have a lot of resources, and then there are a lot of abortion funds like Lexi's that, you know, have fewer and are trying to provide direct care to people who are traveling from out of state, people who are within the state of Ohio. So this kind of imbalance of resources that creates this like real imbalance of power that to shape the priorities of the movement. So like, you know, the folks who are working on the ground with patients, you know, often have a much better sense of, you know, what is needed, you know, to provide better care. And, you know, the folks who might be like working in the executive suite at Planned Parenthood might not have the same perspective. So this like imbalance of power, you know, and how that shapes the priorities of the movement. So like, you know, if you were in charge of all of Planned Parenthood, like what would you do? Or like, you know, what does the funding model for funds like look like right now?
Well, I probably wouldn't make $5 billion and pay my staff $3 billion, but I don't run Planned Parenthood. So, yeah, at AFO, one thing that we do differ than a lot of national funding organizations, and a lot of abortion funds operate this way, is we don't have gestational limits. We don't have income requirements. We know that income is not necessarily reflective of your ability to pay for health care. And so that is one way in which, you know, just like I'm trying to, this question is just so heavy. I'm like thinking about a million different ways where abortion funds are better than PP and all these legacy organizations. I think we were talking about this yesterday. Y'all heard of this little $100 million campaign or whatever. The other day, I was actually informed, and by informed, I mean heavily degraded, by a very high up at one of these legacy organizations who really said a lot and nothing at the same time. But one thing that was very interesting to me that they said to me was that the campaign had only actually raised $8 million, and none of that was at the expense of abortion funds. And even though I think that might be a lot of money, it really isn't for a federal campaign. I said, well, that's only about 11,000 abortions that I could fund. That's about 5 years of our whole fund's operating costs. So I know that you might think it's not a lot of money, but it actually is. And it's just, when I talked about how every aspect is important, it is every aspect of how, you know, advocacy, outreach, direct service, you know, policy shit, like everything is important. But why do we undermine direct service in the way that we do? You know, because I can say that my organization of 6 people with a patient-facing team of 2 have probably communicated directly with more abortion seekers than all of these national legacy orgs combined in 1 year. And so why are we so left out of the conversation? We are the ones on the ground seeing what abortion seekers need, seeing the barriers that they face. A lot of y'all are reading it from a report. So why are we so left out of the conversation? And you know, something that I mentioned in this call with this lead person at this organization is 10 years, what is 10 years from now gonna do for us? People need care right now. People cannot afford care right now. People are being forced into parenthood and continuing pregnancies right now. You know, and I said to them, I said, in 10 years, I don't know how many goddamn supporters y'all are gonna have, because everyone's not, you know, there are people not able to access care right now, that in 10 years were parents when they didn't wanna be, because y'all didn't care about abortion funds. Y'all didn't care about making sure people had money on hand to get their care. And, you know, when we think about, you know, our ballot work, the ballots going on, I was not happy with the language that Ohio used. I was not happy with how, you know, these larger organizations, the the consultants getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars from DC were coming in and talking about abortion. And this is what I said to them about this campaign. I said, what is y'all doing now that's going to be different than Roe? What are y'all doing now that's going to be different from Roe? Because we existed before Roe, and we existed after Roe. And even with this, okay, Ohio passed this constitution till 21 weeks, 6 days. There's still people, we have the same amount of people from Ohioans traveling out of state now than we did when we had the ban, when we had our 6-week ban in place. People are still not able to access care in Ohio. And I said to them, I said, y'all is doing these initiatives, y'all is passing these ballot languages, talking about reasonable limits, talking about not too many abortions, talking about this, that, and the third. And now abortion funds have to circle back and do the work on the ground to let people know, hey, it is okay if you have a million abortions. Hey, it is okay if you got care later in your pregnancy. Y'all is so worried, always so goddamn trying to appease to the middle person, the moderates. Like, how about we focus on the people that already support us? How about we focus on the people that already believe that people should be able to access abortion care no matter what? You know? And so I think that the priorities really get shifted. And I'm gonna leave it there, because I think I'm gonna start talking too much shit.
Yeah, so incredibly well said. Emily, can you talk a bit more about the connections between repro and labor? So, Emily worked for a long time writing the Ask a Labor Organizer column at Repro Jobs. So did an incredible amount of work, kind of facilitating a lot of labor organizing within the repro space. I'm just curious, what questions...
They literally have a network called Repro Jobs.
were coming to you from repro workers, and how were repro workers kind of not discovering the labor movement, but realizing that it would be useful to have a union? What did you learn from doing that?
I didn't even know that. That's funny.
Yeah, that's a great question. I learned a lot. Do you have a question? Are you hand raising?
Yeah, we're going to take questions at the end. Thank you.
I would like to start just by saying that abortion is a labor strike against the general working conditions of parenthood. So
having an abortion is a labor strike against the working conditions of parenthood. So what does that mean? That means we have to do the unpaid labor of raising the next generation of proletarian workers, which means the children that are going to be fed into the oppressive system of capitalism. Let's just listen. That was, wow.
What? Hand raising?
Yeah, we're going to take questions at the end. Thank you.
I would like to start just by saying that abortion is a labor strike against the general working conditions of parenthood.
Snaps in the audience.
So it doesn't make any sense to me that the labor movement ignores abortion as an issue. And then I start working in the labor movement and I'm like, oh, now I understand why they ignore abortion as an issue. It's mostly old white men running the labor movement and they don't give a shit about women's experiences. And this is why most densely populated union industries are male-dominated industries. We don't see so many female-dominated industries getting unionized because other than a handful of organizations like SEIU, by the way, SEIU union busts their own employees.
Wow. Andre, thank you. Thanks, Carlin. I'm happy with the hard work she does to help understand them. Got some Tesla stock as backup funds. Hey, thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Guys, please feel free to send in some super chats. You guys fund my ability to be able to stream these these socialism conference sessions, to listen to them, to make sure we know what's going on the left. I know I'm not doing a lot of breakdown today because really, like, I think it's all pretty clear and straightforward. But of course, if you guys have questions about what's being said, please let me know in the chat. This is especially true for any new people that might be listening to this stuff for the first time. For many people who listen to my work, like, we've heard this stuff before, so I don't need to explain it. But if you're new and you have questions, there are no stupid questions. I know that sounds dumb to say, but like, there really aren't. If you don't understand the language, you need to let us know, because we will help you. We'll break it down. We'll explain what all this is. And I don't want you to be intimidated or scared or anything like that, because I know I can be intimidating and scary sometimes, but I do want to help you guys learn. But we are listening to what happened at the Socialism 2024 conference. We've just gotten the recordings, and we want to hear what happened in some of the sessions. So that is what we're doing today.
They don't really care about direct care workers. They don't care about daycare workers. They don't, I mean, teachers have great unions, like CTU, right on. I love this.
Chicago
but
Teachers
once
Union.
again, we're talking about one industry that has a strong union and is dominated by women. And we have the carpenters, the iron workers, the blah, 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 right? Okay, so that being said, when I worked for the AFL-CIO and I was doing
All right, Tolkien fan, here's some capitalism from me to keep up the awesome work breaking down the far left. I do appreciate that.
phone calls during the 2016 election, about 60% of our members voted for Donald Trump.
Ooh.
So just because someone's in a union doesn't mean they're a leftist. So this is something to consider. Our union leaders are trying to balance the needs, wants, and desires of a wide variety of workers. And that in many ways is a beautiful thing. However, if you are a progressive in your union, is anybody in this room unionized in a union? Right on. You need to be going to your meetings and raising your voice and talking about what's important to you. When I was an organizer, I went to a Keystone XL pipeline protest, and they almost fired me, the AFL-CIO, because it was union jobs, right? So I'm not trying to talk shit on the labor movement. I'm not trying to talk shit on the abortion movement. I'm just trying to say that, like, there's some tension here about, like, for whom is it for? So, okay, labor and the abortion movement.
Thank you, Tolkien fan.
Thought I was just like the only person in the whole entire world who noticed that the feminists didn't really care about workers' rights. But then one day I was on Facebook and I saw repro jobs pop up. And I was like, oh my God, I'm validated. And so I followed repro jobs, which at the beginning was, I mean, honestly, a little bit like just kind of like a shit posting experiment. Like, can we change the industry through pressure? And this is back in 2014 or 2013. Like, this is before Facebook became the cesspool that it is, and back when we were sort of experimenting with it as an organizing tool still. So this was like really exciting. And all of a sudden, repro jobs started posting jobs in the repro movement that were good jobs. And this was encouraging employers to publish good jobs. So when I worked at the AFL-CIO, one of the projects I worked on was called Good Jobs Missoula. And this was a local effort to unionize low-wage workers in the Missoula. In Missoula, it's a lot of tourist industry jobs. So we're talking about like river guides and pizza shop workers and bartenders. And the labor movement also doesn't care much about those workers. And so we were trying.
Oh, Nick got $1,000 super chat. I wish people can't send us out $1,000 super chat on YouTube, but I wish people would send me $1,000. No pressure.
To create a funnel for low-wage workers to join the labor movement.
Maybe someday.
And so, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, one of the projects we did was called Good Jobs, the Good Jobs Project, where we honored employees who were doing.
To be fair, last night Nick did his 8-year anniversary show, so it was kind of like a big milestone show. So I can see that. Yeah, you can send it to the Power Chat if people want. Power Chat is in the description. Let me know if you guys send something into Power Chat. I'll turn it on and take a look.
A good job in our town, even though they didn't have a union. They were still trying to do the right thing. So repro jobs had the same vibe, in my opinion. Like, we're gonna honor the good jobs, we're gonna get the good jobs to the people, and we're gonna try to encourage them in this kind of gentle pressure way. But then when they got some funding to get a website together, I just sort of like sent them an unhinged email that was like, I love you guys, please let me do something for you. And they gave me the column. I was like, whoa. So that was awesome. The types of questions I got were so varied, but there was a theme. Every single one of these workers who wrote into me deeply love their movement, and they want the movement to be better. They are reaching out. They want a union, not because they think their boss is a bitch, but because they want the abortion movement to survive. So it was beautiful to see people say, I want a union, but I don't want my clinic to close. I want a union, but I don't want to demonize my executive director because she actually does a lot of good work. I had executive directors reach out to me and say, my workers are unionizing and I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna make this work, but I really wanna do it. How do we do this? So that gave me so much hope, and there was so much beauty in that. And I also got to hear a lot of tea, which I love. And if you were a worker who spoke to me at Repro Jobs, please know that I am a steel trap and your secrets are safe forever and ever and ever. But yeah, I think that the legacy organization, and we've talked about legacy media here at the conference. We've kind of talked about the Democrats as like a legacy sort of movement. How do we disrupt?
The Democrats are a legacy movement to the far left. And this was before the election. They were already, and I do have some of those sessions pulled up, and I think we're going to listen to them tomorrow for Socialism Saturday, but people need to understand that. It's like,
that. How do we just disrupt that and make sure that they don't get complacent and they don't begin to reflect the industry they're supposed to, that they're supposed to break up and want to destroy as part of a leftist collective liberation movement. But we cannot have collective liberation if we don't have control over this. You want control over your rent, you don't even have control over your body. So we have to start, reproduction is just such a nexus of control. And if they can control our reproduction, they can control our whole lives. And I don't know if you know much about the maternal mortality crisis in the United States, but right now in hospitals across the United States, babies are being beheaded by OBGYNs.
what?
What the police do to black men, OBGYNs do to black women. They are using childbirth as a vehicle for genocide. And by forcing more people to give birth, they're gonna have a greater opportunity to enact their fucking horrors in the medical industrial system that now owns birth and all reproduction.
What? What did we just listen to? These people are saying that hospitals are beheading black babies? Again?
And want to destroy as part of a leftist collective liberation movement. But we cannot have collective liberation if we don't have control over this. You want control over your rent, you don't even have control over your body. So we have to start, reproduction is just such a nexus of control. And if they can control our reproduction, they can control our whole lives. And I don't know if you know much about the maternal mortality crisis in the United States, but right now in hospitals across the United States, babies are being beheaded by OBGYNs. What the police do to black men, OBGYNs do to black women. They are using childbirth as a vehicle for genocide. And by forcing more people to give birth, they're gonna have a greater opportunity to enact their fucking horrors in the medical industrial system that now owns birth and all reproduction. That's a different rant for a different day, maybe, but.
Yes, I hope you do that rant at some point, Emily, abortion doula. Emily Likens Ehlers. I don't even know what to say to that. And it's also like the circular logic of the reproductive justice movement. It's like, we have to have abortions to prevent black babies from being beheaded in hospitals. These people are insane. Where is she getting this from? That is the most insane thing we've heard yet. And that folks, is why we sit here and listen to socialist presentations, because even though there's some boring stuff, once you hit the crazy, you hit the crazy.
We need to dismantle all healthcare that is for profit if we want to see equitable abortion care, childbirth care.
Oh, it's about capitalism. There it is. There it is. Do you know why they're beheading these black babies in hospitals? Capitalism. Therefore, we need to dismantle all for-profit healthcare because capitalism has literally caused black babies to get beheaded in hospitals. Wow.
PGYNs due to black women. They are using childbirth as a vehicle for genocide. And by forcing more people to give birth, they're going to have a greater opportunity to enact their fucking horrors in the medical industrial system that now owns birth and all reproduction. That's a different rant for a different day, maybe. But we need to dismantle all healthcare that is for profit if we want to see equitable abortion care, childbirth care, blah, blah, blah. I'm off topic, but
I want to get back to that, but I do want to ask you just one more labor question, and then I want to get back to the, universal health care. I think those are good tensions that we should talk about. So just one other labor question. So what else?
No, Kyle. No. This is a conservative bullshit narrative, and I would really appreciate it if people stopped doing this in my chat. How many of these crazy claims do you think are intentional lies versus sincerely held beliefs? They're all sincerely held beliefs. Everything these people say are sincerely held beliefs. And the reason I'm getting a little uppity about being asked this is I've been asked this about 8,000 times, and my answer is literally always the same. These are sincerely held beliefs. This is a recording from the Socialism conference where they are talking to each other. They're all peers. They're all on the same level. That's how the collective works. They're all on the same level. They are talking to each other in their private spaces. These are their sincerely held beliefs. Now, those beliefs can be unhinged from reality. Those beliefs may not be true. Again, I have no idea what this woman is even talking about with black babies getting beheaded in hospitals and a literal genocide. I have no idea what she's talking about, but she absolutely sincerely believes that's happening. There's a reason that she said it. Maybe she'll let us in on what that is. Maybe she won't. But we have got to start dispensing with this conservative bullshit narrative that these people are just lying and they don't really believe any of this and it's all an act. The reason that conservatives say that is because conservatives themselves do not have any strongly held beliefs and are willing to adapt their beliefs based on whatever the narrative is at any given time. And so they assume that everyone else is like that too, and they do not understand that these are true believers. They believe everything they say. Every time. This is their identity. This is who they are. This is not just to get clout on the internet. In fact, this session wasn't even streamed on the internet. It was recorded and then released, a month ago.
Like labor, what could we do, like if we're in a union that's like, not a clinic union, but like what can the labor movement do? What can labor organizers do to promote access to abortion care and reproductive health care within their position as labor organizers or as part of a union? Like what can the wider labor movement do to support abortion?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I will. I'll talk about that. Okay, so if you're in a union, one thing that you can do is we have a petition that we've been kind of circulating. We're trying to get the AFL-CIO to hold like some sort of summit or conference where they can get together and actually talk about creating an actual strategy for helping their workers who are impacted by these laws. So we're trying to get that just like to the leadership at the AFL. And if you're in a union, you can join on to that. That's the... Yeah, maybe I can circulate like an email. You guys can like write your email addresses down for me and I can send you the info. We have a listserv and we get on Zoom every once in a while and chat. But there's a number of unions that have signed on to that. The other thing that you can do is, like I said, go to your meetings and just like raise your voice and make sure that your BAs and your reps and your stewards all know that you are a leftist radical union, and that you want them to champion abortion, and you don't want the right-wingers who just happen to be your comrades in union to define the agenda. I mean, it's tough because we are so siloed in our movements. But when I was young and I had my abortion, I was studying literature in college. That's why I'm a doula now. There's not very many jobs for people who studied literature in college.
You don't
but
say.
I was really perturbed by the fact that there weren't very many books or stories about abortion in our libraries. We have lots of books and stories about war and about death and about famine. Where are the birth stories? Where are the abortion stories? Those of us who work in books know it's because women weren't allowed to publish for a long time. But when I found books that were written about abortion or had abortion as part of the plot, one theme came out really strongly, and that was workplace solidarity. In America, women have relied on their coworkers to help them get abortions, historically. So just being there for people you work with, I'll take your shift. Do you need a ride? Can I help you talk to HR about getting an advance on your paycheck? Or like, can we give you $20, right? This sounds so simple, but rich people, pay me a lot of money to show up and sweep their floors and do their laundry and cook them meals and bring them soup. So don't underestimate the power of that too. When I had my abortion, I was working at PetSmart, and I remember I came into work and I was a mess, and my coworkers were like, "What's up?" And I was like, "I'm a little pregnant, I don't know what to do." And they were like, "Girl, we've all been pregnant," right? And it made me feel a lot better. So the stigma, right? And sometimes we don't have that in our families. We probably don't have that in our faith community, but we can have it at work. So be there for each other. Oh my God, the Walmart thing. Oh, I totally forgot. Okay. So in Arkansas, there's a company called Walmart, if you've heard of them. So they're not historically known for being great to their workers. And for a long time, Walmart has been kind of a bastion for like the labor rights movement, right? If we can move Walmart, we can move everyone. By the way, the only two companies or entities in the entire world that have more employees than Walmart are the People's Free Army of China and the United States Department of Defense. So when we're talking about Walmart associates, we are talking about an army of workers. So it's logical that we wanted to target them. But as a young organizer, I worked really hard to try and get into Walmart and organize Walmart and Walmart. We were like hanging out there while they were taking their smoke breaks, trying to organize them. It was way tough. It's impossible. It's a huge machine. But Arkansas passed a law that you have to provide fertility benefits with your healthcare insurance if you have more than 50 employees. And obviously, Walmart has more than 50 employees. So now, guess what? Every single full-time associate of Walmart in the entire country of the United States of America can get up to $20,000 worth of IVF benefits as part of their employer-provided healthcare plan.
That's actually...
And Walmart gets to pony up for this. So they can also get 8 free sessions with me because this company that provides this service pays me to sit with Walmart employees and help them navigate their pregnancies. And this is because activists in Arkansas did something inside a ballot box. So we are talking about beyond the ballot box today, but don't forget the power of compelling our bosses to do things for us. And also, let's not forget...
Is she implying, she's not saying this directly, but this person says that she is a full service doula. What that means is she provides birthing services. She also provides the abortion doula services. Is she saying that Walmart employees can use their benefits for sessions with her to get an abortion? Does Walmart know that? Because that kind of sounds like what she's saying. Now, the law is about IVF, but is it possible that she's saying that Walmart employees can kind of like game their own system to use Walmart benefits to pay for her services and as an abortion doula with their benefits? Again, please.
Yes. This company that provides this service pays me to sit with Walmart employees and help them navigate their pregnancies. And this is because activists in Arkansas did something inside a ballot box.
Maybe someone should send Emily an email under a secret email address and ask her explicitly if, Emily, I heard you give this presentation at the Socialism 2024 conference, and you were talking about how Walmart employees can use their benefits to access your services. Can I use my Walmart benefits to access your services as an abortion doula instead of for IVF? Would that be okay with you? Could we work that out? Maybe someone should send Emily an email and ask her that question.
So we are talking about beyond the ballot box today, but don't forget the power of compelling our bosses to do things for us. And also, let's not forget that we are demanding a lot of things of our government, like single-payer healthcare. And the labor movement in the past, demanded this of their bosses. So maybe we are asking things of our government that we should be demanding of our bosses, like childcare and healthcare and, wages. So anyway.
Totally. Okay, one last question, and then we'll hear from the audience. Lexi, I'd love to hear your thoughts about, what we were kind of talking about before, about the kind of contradictions between mutual aid, community care, having abortions, no matter what the law says. Like, we will always care for each other and work outside existing systems. We've talked a bit about, the kind of medical racism of the medical establishment, the origins of a lot of that. So the systems are flawed. But also we want to, work towards a single payer healthcare system so that everybody has access to all healthcare. So do you want to unpack a little bit what you think about those tensions?
I think one of the big things, what clicked for me when I learned reproductive justice is the right to raise your family in a safe and sustainable community. When I heard that, everything just clicked for me. And I think when we are siloing abortion access from justice, we're doing ourselves a disservice. I think when I'm working with abortion seekers, I see all these inequities just pan out very visibly. I'm seeing, the research is very clear. When someone accesses wanted abortion care, great outcomes. When someone does not access wanted abortion care, poor educational outcomes, poor employment outcomes, poor health outcomes, poor mental health outcomes, more stress, impacts on family, impacts on their children. So why are we siloing abortion when access to abortion is impacting every facet of someone's life? And that's what at AFO, that's what I'm trying to do, make these connections with these housing justice organizations, these immigrant justice organizations, these Palestinian justice organizations, domestic violence organizations, food inequity, all these different things I'm trying to work with, because the same people impacted by that are the same people impacted by abortion, not having abortion access. And I think when we are working all with the mindset that all of these things, someone has to have access to all of these things to raise their family, whatever that may look like, in a safe and healthy environment, then we're moving more towards the goal. Sorry, y'all, I'm blanking so hard on everything I was about to say. Can Can you come back to me? Sorry, I blinked. I no, it was cooking and it just blinked. So I'm gonna,
I think that we're not going to get a satisfying answer from our politicians about abortion. At least not in my lifetime. 10 years ago, I thought that I might get a satisfying answer from our elected officials about abortion, and then it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I remember when it was safe, legal, and rare Hillary Clinton language, and it has sort of shifted. And it's largely due to the work of pro-abortion activists who have been unabashedly unashamed about how transformative, important, and lovely it can be to have an abortion. It's not just relief, which was definitely what I felt when I had my abortion. But when you get pregnant and you weren't planning on being pregnant, it puts a spotlight on your life. And it makes you think about who you are as a person and who you want to be and where you want to go. And every single person I work with who's had an abortion does it because they want to better themselves or they want to do right for the children they already have. I also know that people come to their abortions brokenhearted occasionally. Sometimes people want to carry their pregnancy to term and can't afford it. That sucks. Like, I hate that. And I try to connect people with resources and see if maybe they can find a way to make it work. Because if your heart says you want to have a baby, you should be able to have a baby, regardless of how much money you make. But that's not the reality for people. You have to buy peanut butter. And if you can't afford peanut butter, how can you afford condoms? So what? We're just not supposed to have sex because we're poor? That's not fair. That's not right.
You can get condoms for free, like, everywhere.
People like having sex. So I think that we often hear about abortion in extremes, but the vast majority of abortions are really boring and very normal. Abortions are an act of self-reliance and self-determination. But
Wow.
one of my intersections is sort of like the autonomous birth movement, along with the abortion rights movement. And when we place our power in the hands of a doctor, we are going to expose ourselves to systems that are riddled with isms, right? Sexism, racism, classism. And we hear about how Black women are 6 to 12 times more likely to die of a pregnancy-related complication than their white counterparts. This is after we adjust for income and education. This is not a class issue. This is a race issue. So I love abortion providers. I also worry about what it means to put that much power into the hands of any authority, whether it's our laws, our doctors. We know the healthcare system's broken. Why are we relying upon the healthcare system to get us our abortions? So when self-managed abortion came on the scene as a little bit more reliable, a little bit more accessible, that was beautiful. For a long time, we were saying, we won't go back. And that's what we heard at the DNC, we won't go back. When we talk about going back to illegal abortion, we sort of have this idea in our head of like knitting needles, and we don't need to rely on that anymore. We have these pills. These pills will give you a safe abortion. Carrying a pregnancy to term is 14 times riskier than having an abortion with pills.
Wow.
Your chance of having a complication with these pills is 0.002%.
It is literally safer to take these pills and bleed your child out into the toilet than it is to have an abortion. All right.
You're literally more likely to get struck by lightning than you are to have a complication with these pills.
Wow.
And they work. 98% of the time they work. And for the 2% that they don't work for, you just go in and get a DNC. You just go in and get a little, like this.
Oh my God.
Voop.
She's demonstrating it.
That's all it takes. This is what it's all about. They're trying to make this illegal.
I wish I could see what was
And
going on, but we
doctors don't learn how to do abortions in medical school. Did you know that? You have to seek out special training. So, anyway, I don't know if I answered the question. Yeah, let me just talk you through the pills. It's super simple. It takes 30 seconds. So you can order these online. We've heard a couple of...
A DNC is like when you go into the doctor to have a normal abortion. I forget exactly what it stands for, but it's like a normal abortion. Go to
Plan C pills, aid access, Les Libres, right? Because you can get it for free there. About $100 to $180 maybe. If you go to Planned Parenthood, this will cost you $1,200. If you go to an independent abortion clinic, about $500 to $600. These people have overhead, right? So they do need to charge for their services. But Planned Parenthood on average charges twice as much as independent clinics for abortions.
How much do the pills cost?
Oh, 14 cents to produce, you mean? Oh, yeah, no. Okay, my friends who work internationally get these to the end user for 30 cents. 30 cents. So something you can do if you're a policy wonk is you can start lobbying the FDA for more access to abortion pills. Right now, these are from Africa. These are not American abortion pills, okay? You can't get these in America. These are a Miffy
American
pen.
abortion pills.
Same drug, different company. The FDA controls what companies are allowed to put drugs on the market. It's extremely difficult to get a drug approved by the FDA.
So maybe we should just ban them in the United States and not allow them to be approved. I'm just saying.
So the FDA will approve OxyContin, but they won't give us more abortion pills? Fuck that. So we can work on this issue in the US and get cheaper abortion pills. Okay, you can order these online, telemedicine abortion, you get on Zoom, you talk to a doctor. Sometimes they want an ultrasound, sometimes they do not. If they want an ultrasound, you have to be careful if you are in an anti-choice state, because once your pregnancy is confirmed, the state is watching you to see if you have a baby.
Wow.
Okay, so if you have an OBGYN that you trust, this is a wonderful thing. If you don't have an OBGYN in your community or a midwife in your community that you trust, find one. That's your task when you leave here today. These are the people who can do things like give you an ultrasound and confirm your pregnancy and won't report you to the state. Most of the people who are getting reported to the state for medication abortion or self-managed abortion they're being reported by nurses and doctors. The nurses and doctors cannot tell if you have taken these pills. Nobody knows if you've taken these. You do not tell anyone you've taken these pills if you are in an anti-choice state.
See, I told you the abortion pills are how they're trying to get around all of the abortion ban laws, and they literally train people on how to do. You're hearing it right now. If you live in a state where they don't allow abortion, you can still take these pills, and guess what? They don't know you've taken these pills, and don't go and get that ultrasound, because if you get that ultrasound, they're going to be watching to see if you have a baby. You should just take these pills. Just get them online. Just go online. Just talk to a doctor in another state. They'll ship them right to you. Just take these pills, and no one has to confirm it. Yeah, of course I was right about the pills. I've been tracking these abortion people for like 3 years. I just want to rewind and listen to this a little bit again.
Abortion pills put drugs on the market. It's extremely difficult to get a drug approved by the FDA. So the FDA will approve OxyContin, but they won't give us more abortion pills? Fuck that. So we can work on this issue in the US and get cheaper abortion pills. Okay, you can order these online, telemedicine abortion, you get on Zoom, you talk to a doctor. Sometimes they want an ultrasound, sometimes they do not. If they want an ultrasound, you have to be careful if you are in an anti-choice state, because once your pregnancy is confirmed, the state is watching you to see if you have a baby. Okay, so if you have an OBGYN that you trust, this is a wonderful thing. If you don't have an OBGYN in your community or a midwife in your community that you trust, find one. That's your task when you leave here today. These are the people who can do things like give you an ultrasound and confirm your pregnancy and won't report you to the state. Most of the people who are getting reported to the state for medication abortion or self-managed abortion they're being reported by nurses and doctors. The nurses and doctors cannot tell if you have taken these pills. Nobody knows if you've taken these. You do not tell anyone you've taken these pills if you are in an anti-choice state. And if you are talking to somebody about these pills, make sure they know that. You just say you're having a miscarriage. It looks exactly the same. Okay, so inside this pack, there's 2 different sets of medications. The first medication is called mifepristone. It is a progesterone blocker. HRT, anybody? So it's going to end the pregnancy.
What is progesterone?
Thank you for the question. Wonderful question. Progesterone is a hormone. And if you know anything about your menstrual cycle, your level of progesterone waxes and wanes throughout the month, which is why sometimes you feel like shit. But progesterone is essential for maintaining a pregnancy. So once your body has blocked the progesterone, the pregnancy just is done. It just ends inside the body, right? Mifepristone is also used for ectopic pregnancies occasionally. So if a pregnancy is not inside the uterus, maybe it has attached to the colon, maybe it has attached to the fallopian tube. This is a life-threatening thing, so they can use mifepristone to block the hormone. Once the mifepristone is taken with water, you just swallow it down. 36 hours maximum, 24 hours minimum. Is that usually what you about tell people? There's a ton of debate about when to take the mifepristone. But about 48 to 36 hours later, you would take these second, not you, a person seeking abortion might consider doing. No, the lawyers are very, are always warning us about this language. So a person who might be taking these pills, 48 to 36 hours later would use the misoprostol. The misoprostol is these 4 pills over here, and these are not swallowed. These are actually just placed in between the cheek and the gum, and they're left to dissolve. It takes about 30 minutes for them to dissolve. This second set of medication can sometimes give people chills. They might feel nauseous. Sometimes people are afraid of throwing up, so they'll insert these vaginally. But I don't recommend that because you need to get them very close to your cervix. And if you're not familiar with your anatomy in there, you might not place them exactly. You might not be as effective. So that's up to the individual. But these pills are either taken buccally in the cheek or vaginally. Probably about 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours after you take this medication, the cramping begins. And this is a process of the cervix dilating and the uterus emptying, which is not unlike your period. However, depending on how far along you are, your cervix may have to dilate quite a bit, and your uterus might have to do quite a bit of work to empty the contents of your uterus. So this is going to feel more than a heavy period, which is what Planned Parenthood sort of tells people. It's a heavy period. If you're only 6 weeks pregnant, it might kind of feel like a heavy period, but if you're 9 or 10 weeks pregnant, it's going to be a little bit more like early labor. If you've had a child, you would know what that means. If you've not had a child, it's going to kind of rock your world a little bit. So this is where a doula comes in. I bring a heating pad, I fill up the bathtub, I give people back rubs, I give them ice chips and cups of tea. We use combs and TENS machines to help manage the discomfort of this procedure. We take ibuprofen, we smoke weed. We do whatever we need to do. We get through it, right? The bleeding begins. The bleeding is usually more than people expect, but as long as you're not filling a super overnight pad, right? You know those big thick ones that go like all the way from your butt crack all the way to the top of your underpants? If you're filling one of those in less than an hour, 2 hours in a row, it's too much bleeding. Gushing is kind of expected and normal. Most people will sit on the toilet while this is happening, but it can also happen in a bathtub. Some people who are interested in collecting their fetal tissue, either for some sort of disposal or grief ceremony, will sometimes even just be in their living room with like a shower curtain on the ground to sort of catch everything. This is very much like a home birth, if anybody has ever seen or been exposed to the home birth movement. This is just the idea that like we are safe to experience reproductive events in our own homes, and that this doesn't need to be observed by anyone that we don't want observing it, because this is our abortion, our body, our reproduction.
Oh my God.
So every person is different, but usually this process takes about 2-3 days to just
2 or 3
fully
days?
stop your intense bleeding and be ready to just sort of be a normal
You bleed for
person
2 or 3 days?
but once it's over, it's over. You can take a pregnancy test as you are like finishing up your procedure and sort of see what that line on that pregnancy test looks like. And then in a few days or a few weeks, you take another pregnancy test and see if the line looks more faded than it did before. As the weeks go by, the line on the pregnancy test should fade and get lighter and lighter and lighter. That's how you know you're not pregnant anymore. It takes 6 weeks for your body to sort of get the pregnancy hormones out. So you'll still get a positive pregnancy test for up to 6 weeks after an abortion. But if you want to make sure that your abortion is complete, before that happens, you can always seek a healthcare provider to give you an ultrasound and make sure that your uterus is totally emptied. A few other things to look out for with self-managed abortion other than just too much bleeding. And listen, as a birth doula, I see people bleed, right? When you're thinking about bleeding, is it too much bleeding? How much bleeding is too much bleeding? Ask the person how they feel. If someone feels lightheaded, dizzy, clammy, if they're looking gray in the face, it's too much bleeding, right? But if someone's bleeding a lot and you're like, how do you feel? And they're like, I feel fine, I don't know, right? Do you need to go to the emergency room if you feel fine? I don't know. So infection is always a risk, so we want to look out for signs of infection. This means bad smelling discharge, a fever, a sensation of burning. Sometimes people will advise you to keep things like sex toys and penises out of your vagina for 10 days after you have an abortion. Some people don't care. That's up to you, because this is your abortion, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that's self-managed abortion. It's not really pretty process, but it gets the job done. And it gets it done really effectively, really privately. And sometimes people like to have candles and fairy lights and affirmation cards.
Candles
and honestly
and
make
fairy
it
lights.
an event. So don't be afraid to have an abortion party.
Oh!
Thanks for listening.
Don't be afraid to have an abortion party with candles and fairy lights. You know, I said this after I went undercover at the Reproductive Justice Conference, where, by the way, I went on a self-managed abortion tour at that conference where I was taught about abortion doulas. They showed me an abortion shrine that you go to worship at, which is not about the dead baby, by the way. It's about worshiping yourself after you have... I said this after I went undercover at that thing. There is nothing that has ever come closer to making me pro-life than listening to abortion rights activists talk about having a self-managed abortion. That was unbelievable. Rottweiler, thank you for the member chat. I've seen victims of cartels here, shootout aftermaths, yet this is making me feel sick. No joke. This is genuinely horrible. That's what it felt like to be undercover at the Reproductive Justice Conference. I swear to God. That's what it felt like. And yeah, I mean, she talked about having an abortion party at the end. Listen, they said, when I was on that self-managed abortion tour, they said, you know, you should use this as a celebratory moment to celebrate yourself. That's why they had a shrine after you had your abortion. It was not about, you know, the baby or whatever. It was about literally worshiping yourself and celebrating yourself. That is the mindset of these people. It is so gross. It is so gross on so many levels, but that is, I mean, I'm kind of like, I'm horrified at what we just heard. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it's also like, I'm actually glad to have a recording of this, because I didn't get that recorded on audio when I went undercover at that event. You just had to rely on like my photographs and me telling you about it. But like to actually hear it said, like, oh my God, These people are nuts. Thank you, Melody. I do appreciate it. Wow. Well, I think that's going to do it for today, guys. I think that's about all I can take. I don't think we can listen to that other abortion session right now. I don't want to keep going. I need to decompress from that, and I think you probably do too. And I'm going to clip that and I'm going to put that out because we see a lot of crazy stuff covering the left. We listen to a lot of crazy stuff. There is nothing more disturbing than when the pro-abortion people tell you what they really think. There is nothing more disturbing. And one of the things that was so striking to me about that clip was, did you hear how silent the room was? You could hear a pin drop in that room as she was describing the process of taking these pills and, you know, bleeding your child out, and hey, maybe you have a bath and maybe you do it. And it's no different than a home birth, guys. Yes, it is different. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is different. I don't know how it's almost inhuman. Like, it is. I don't use this terminology often, and people know that. Like, it is demonic. And it's hard for me to describe if you've never been in a room with these people. And again, I was in a room with them for I went undercover for an entire day at this thing that I went to, and the energy of it just, there's even at other socialist events that I've gone undercover at, there is something truly dark about the abortion stuff. And it sticks with you, man. Like, I haven't heard something like this in a while. And I'm glad we did get it on record. I'm glad we got the recording. I'm glad we got that. I'm glad other people heard it and it wasn't just me sitting in a room with these people. But it's just something else. It really is just something else. And it was just audio. All we had was the audio. We didn't even see the device that she pulled out to I mean, it's just like, man. I can never be in a room with these people. I'm not capable of having a strong... It was tough, man. Do you guys remember that video I made after, like, right after I got out of the conference? Do you guys want to watch that real quick? Do you guys remember this video? I don't even know I don't even know where it is. Hang on, I can find it probably real quick. Do you guys remember how freaked out I was about this when it happened? If you're new, like, let's just watch this real quick. I can find it. It's on my Substack. I know I uploaded it there. Hang on. Let me show you guys. This was the video of me that I basically ran to my car at the... Oh, look at me. I look crazy. Like, I actually look fucking crazy. Look at that. Like, I was at this conference all day with these people, and I ran to my car and I just took out my phone and I was just like, here's what happened. You guys are not going to believe this. You are not going to believe this. I just spent a full day with like 250 socialists at a day-long socialist conference at Hampshire College. I got here like 8:30 this morning. It's what, like 6 o'clock now? I'm wrapping up, about to drive home. I was like undercover. I had to wear a mask and everything. They thought I was one of them. You are not going to effing believe the things that I heard today. You guys think the socialists are crazy online? No. No. No, 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 no. They are next level insane when they think they're only around people who agree with them. None of the clips that you have ever seen from Libs of TikTok is more than what I saw today. I promise you that. I promise you. Now, I didn't record it. I couldn't record it, but I have lots of pictures. I took like 25 pages worth of notes. I have so much literature that I got at the conference. I have like a 4-page pamphlet of every single trans book directed at elementary school kids. I got to go on a tour of how you self-manage your abortion. And did you know that when you self-manage your abortion, it's nice to have a nice cup of tea and a warm bed that you can relax in? And oh, by the way, an abortion doula that will sit next to you while you're on the toilet bleeding out the child. And mind you, I'm pro-choice, but I'm not this pro-choice. They actually recommended getting an abortion doula to hold your hand as you are sitting on the toilet bleeding from self-managing your abortion. If I had gotten to the self-managed abortion tour earlier in the day, I could have gotten a free t-shirt with the names of the pills that you take to self-manage your abortion. And by the way, the toilet is not the last stop on the self-managed abortion tour. The shrine with crystals and candles where you take care of yourself and your spiritual needs following the self-managed abortion is the last stop on the tour. I've got pictures of all of this. I realized I was in one breakout session, and I realized while I was in the breakout session that the woman leading the session had blocked me on Twitter, which was hilarious. Thank God I was wearing a mask. I almost burst out laughing. I was also in a session with the woman who runs the Institute for the Research into Male Supremacy. And that session was a trip, man. I was sitting in that session and I looked around the room and there are all these college students, these gender studies majors. They all had shaved heads, unshaved legs, unshaved armpits, the whole nine. I have never been around this many socialists in my life. I was like, I am quite literally in an episode of Socialism Saturday right now. I am in the episode. And I almost burst out laughing in the middle of the session because it was so absurd. And the things they were saying were so insane. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. I really can't. But I had to post this quick update. I have to drive home. If you want to hear more about it, I will be tackling it. I will show you all my pictures. And that's pretty much the end of the video. But like, you can actually find all my pictures. And let's just go back. I'll just quickly scroll through. You can find all this stuff on my Substack, guys. It's Carlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. Go to the How to Speak Socialist section. This was actually the start of the How to Speak Socialist section. So just scroll all the way down to the bottom. And I'll just show you real quick. These are the pictures from the self-managed abortion tour. So you can see, like, this is the lady that gave it, and you know, they brought you through all the different parts of having a self-managed abortion, and there's lots of socialist stuff all around, and you know, here is the bathroom where you bleed your child out, and they had a sign about an abortion doula, and there's the shrine. There's the shrine where you worship yourself after having the self-managed abortion. There's a little bit of a close-up of the shrine. And actually, I have another picture of that too, because I think I wrote an article about how these people basically, I guess I didn't put it in here. I wrote an article about how these people basically made me pro-choice. Like, not pro-choice, like very pro-life. Now, listen, I am still pro-choice because I think that women, again, who are raped, they need to have options, and I don't see that happening a lot of the time. Well, I mean, obviously, like, if you're raped, you wouldn't have options if abortion was banned. But like, you know, in the sense that, like, would I ever personally get an abortion? No, not after being around these people. Like, that is not a choice I would make. But literally, the point I want to make, and I have a closer up picture of this, is this symbol right here where it looks like it has a face with the woman's hands over it. The wording on this, if we zoom into it, actually, can I just zoom into it? Can I just do that here? I guess I can't really see it in this picture. But the language on this thing literally talks about how you are worshiping yourself at this shrine. So people asked me, they were like, "Oh, is this about worshiping the child?" No. This specifically is about worshiping yourself after you have your abortion. These people are crazy. And if you're shocked, you're not alone. If this was hard for you to listen to, you're not alone. But I do think it's important that people understand this. I think it's important that people understand that this is real. These people are real. And it doesn't, just because Roe v. Wade got repealed, they just told you that abortion pills are their answer to Roe v. Wade getting repealed. Abortion pills are their answer to, states banning abortion. I have them on video in other sessions talking about how they're going to smuggle these abortion pills into states where it's banned. I mean, and they had that all set up before Roe v. Wade even got repealed. And the reason I know that is that we caught them on video talking about it before Roe v. Wade got repealed years ago on this channel. So people have been around for a while. Maybe you remember that. If you're new, you might not. So, yeah. It's crazy. And I don't think enough people understand it. And it is very, very dark. And so I'm going to go relax now. I'm going to go relax and work on my book. If you guys want to support the work I'm doing, head over to karlyn.substack.com, where you can find all that information. You can go through my archives. I have a massive amount of archives on that website. So if you're looking for something to do, if you're looking for the older content, you can always find it there. The vast majority of it is available for free. So if you want to support the work I'm doing, please do so by signing up for $8 a month, $80 a year. I am 100% funded by you guys. I can't do this stuff without you guys. And so I do really appreciate the support. But that's all we're going to do for tonight. I'm going to be back tomorrow for Socialism Saturday. And we have Bitchcraft tomorrow at 3 p.m. So if you want to come hang out at 3 p.m. tomorrow, you can do that in the Zoom, and I'll send those links out. It's also in the Digest newsletter. And that's all we have for today, guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you here?
That's difficult to answer.
that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.